Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys, before we get to today's video, I want to mention two quick things to you. Number one, when you wake up in the morning, guys, when you're sick and you have this hair keeps, you put a whole bunch of water on your hair because it keeps sticking up like this. That's called a rooster tail, actually. Yeah, I put literally a bottle of water on my hair trying to keep it down for this video, but it keeps sticking up, so I do apologize for that today, guys. Second thing I want to mention, guys, is like I did say a second ago, I am sick. I'm still getting over a cold. I mentioned that on Facebook a couple of days ago, but I am still sick, so I apologize if I'm a little bit nasally or whatever. I'm still having trouble getting over my cold, so I do apologize for that. But on to today's video, guys. Today, this topic was brought about to me from a couple of friends, viewers, looking at the OCG ban list that came out a while ago, and the watching one of Asian Eyes' videos from a while ago as well. And that is, a couple questions came into my mind. Did Pendulums finally break the game of Yu-Gi-Oh? And how is Konami going to combat Pendulums? And just my thoughts on the future of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh. Now, I have talked about, what would bring the game of Yu-Gi-Oh to an end and yada 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 about that before, and I still stand by those things I said, but this is a little bit of a different topic and an altogether different bird altogether. So let's sit down and talk about this for a second. Did Pendulums break the game of Yu-Gi-Oh? Some people will say yes, some people will say no. You've had to live through bad formats to understand what is a bad format. You've had to live through some pretty bad, I've played in bad formats. And I'm talking, Dad and Glads and all that, and Dragon, not fun formats, where it's you either play this deck or you don't win. Is Pendulums broken? Well, let's look at Synchros and XYZs and better fusions from GX. You at least had to use resources up. To make a Synchro monster, you had to use a tuner and another monster. Okay. To make Exceeds, you had to use two monsters of the same level to make one Exceed monster. Okay, so you're using up disadvantages. Granted, Dante, you get, it's Dante with the Burning Abyss, but you get where I'm going with this overall. Pendulums, on the other hand, if you look at the future stuff that's coming out for Pendulums and Pendulum archetypes, it's very easy for them to set up their Pendulum scale. And they can swarm the field so fast. It's stupid to some extent. And it makes me worried because they don't die. They just keep coming back, which is really scary to some extent. Now, granted, you can use the Pendulums with older decks to make them better. Granted, what I'm trying to say here is you can maybe make Pendulums with Synchrons to make Synchrons a better deck, to get your stuff on the field faster. More generic Pendulums, that's fine. But looking at it, it kind of scares me. And I would be lying if I didn't say so when I really did some soul searching and thinking about this topic, that Pendulums keep coming back. That mechanic is really kind of busted. But then when I face Pendulum decks, by proper side decking, my MSTs, my whatever, depending upon the Pendulum deck I'm facing at the time, it's not as bad as it sounds. But then I look at the OCG. And the OCG's a lot further ahead than the TCG is. Everything over there is Pendulum based right now. That's doing really, really, really well is Pendulum based decks, from the Magician Pendulums to the Performer Power Mage, Mascot Pendulums, things that are winning, that's an exclusive over there. They're doing really, really good. They keep swarming the field. So it makes me worry, like down the road, going into the future, how much more powerful Pendulum's going to get. Because we probably at least have another year or two to deal with Pendulums before a new mechanic comes out, right? How much more broken, I don't know the right word to say, just more powerful they're going to get is really a scary thought for me, personally. It scares me a little bit. And it also scares me in the aspect that what is going to be the new mechanic after Pendulums. Because if Pendulums are this, that I keep recurring monsters from my extra deck over and over and just go blah on the field each turn, what's next? I special summon monsters from my deck every turn. What other mechanic? I mean, where are they going to go with this? Now, granted, Konami's been very innovative with coming up with new mechanics for the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So, I mean, you never know. Maybe they'll implement deck masters into a thing, but it concerns me to some degree. But that's just a thought. So, on to the second part of this video is, what are ways that Konami can combat Pendulums if they become too powerful? Because Konami's going to have to make more powerful Pendulums if they want to push product, right? Well, they can use Pendulums in a better way by helping you support older archetypes, okay? So you could do that too, Konami. You could make Pendulums just more for older archetypes to help. I see the benefit of Pendulums to help older archetypes out, to make them better. So I do see the benefit there, but Konami's not going to just use it for that. They're going to make new archetypes with better effects for Pendulums, just like they did with Dragon Rulers for Exceeds and whatnot. So we're going to have to wait and see where this goes. But what are ways they can combat that? Harpy's Feather Duster could come back. Maybe. Disrupt the Pendulum scale a little bit more easily. But then we already have 3 MSTs, so why do we need Harpy's Feather Duster? Just hurts back row heavy decks. And the fact that I always come back to this point that really irks me about the Pendulums is they just go to the extra deck and then they come back. They kind of, in their own way, float. They just keep coming back. You torrential them, they die. They die. They don't go to the graveyard. No, they come back again. They keep coming back. You torrential, you mirror force, you do everything. You have to deprison them to make them not come back anymore. It concerns me. I mean, Radiant Mirror Force may be better down the road, but it concerns me to some extent. Now, granted, ever since the Dragon Ruler format, destroying monsters has gotten a little bit worse and worse each year. So I was prepared for that because I could see the decline of destroying things becoming worse and worse to some extent. But Pendulums kind of take it to a whole new level when you think outside the box. Because they die and they keep coming back and back and back and back again. Granted, Burning Abyss has kind of taught us this to some extent. Don't destroy things, find other ways to get around it. But, yeah. But I have found also, like I said before, from proper side decking, they're not as hard to combat. But what are some other precautionary measures? So I've already mentioned Harpy's Feather Duster, but what are other things Konami could do to help stop the Pendulum future menace, maybe? Maybe bring Bottomless back. Now, this is something the OCG recently did, and I think that this is something that we may follow in the future. It is a plausible possibility to help combat it. If Pendulums become the way they are over in the OCG, now granted the OCG and TCG are two different completely games to some extent sometimes, but it is a good option that you put Bottomless back to 2 or 3 to help combat it, because if they Pendulum summon, they're going to all get banished. They're going to have to rework to get their Pendulum scale. So I see it as a helpful out for slower decks. But I don't think right now that should be done or even thought about. But I think it's a smart idea that the OCG did that. For the TCG, I would say not right now. Wait. See what happens going into the future. See how the meta develops sometime next year. Because I don't think Pendulums are going to be really becoming into the mainstay of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Until after the Magician structure deck. And going after that, I think they're going to become more powerful. But we're going to have to wait and see how it works out here in the TCG land. I mean, granted, things always have been different between the OCG and TCG since the ban list split. Again, we're going to have to wait to see how all this develops. But it's just some thoughts of mine. You know, are you worried, like I am, about the possibility of Pendulums becoming overly broken? Are you also in my boat that I say, personally, that right now they don't seem as powerful as people make them out to be? Personally, I find that they are easy to combat with proper side decking, like I said. And what are you thinking are some measures, you know, maybe special rulings, etc., which Konami's not well known for, but you never know with them. They have changed the game mechanics before by adding 2 field spells. You know, both players can have 2 field spells. The 5-card trolley rule, they took away priority. I mean, Konami's been known to do things. What do you think things could be done to help if Pendulums become overly powerful? What are some things that can be done to help decks out? Just decks that, you know, are going to have a harder time in the future is what I'm trying to say. So tell me down below what you think. I know this wasn't a real discussion video, but this is just a topic I wanted to talk about and touch on, because it's been on my mind for the last couple of days, and I've been thinking about it very thoroughly, and I just want to discuss and talk about it. So tell me your thoughts down below, guys, about what you think about Pendulums, what do you think should be done about them if they become overly powerful, and things of that nature. Till next time, guys, take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling, and I'll see all of you guys next time. Seto Kaiba, I'm out of you guys. Good luck dueling to all of you. Take care, everybody. Seto Kaiba, I'm out of you guys.